Rolo was invented in 1937 by British confectioner John McIntosh. The caramel treat enjoyed decades of popularity in the Queen's realm before finally breaking into the American market in the late 1960s. Today, Rolo is up against a Japanese cookie and an American trail mix in an international snacking battle. You tried it! You tried that. I'm Nick Novak from the pals. Chad Hancock.
Howdy.
Nick Geiger.
Hello.
Boys, the World Series is coming right up here. Featuring two teams.
Featuring the Red Sox or whatever.
Red Sox.
I don't know why I said Red Sox.
Possibly, yes, maybe. I don't know.
Probably
you want to put out some predictions? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm saying Braves.
And
I'll go Braves and Rays. What are you saying? Chad thinks Red Sox, and they're not really in contention.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, I don't know why I said that.
Chad thinks it's Red Sox and the Panthers. No. I'm gonna go. Hey, you know what? I'm always pessimistic. It's not gonna happen. But I'll say Brewers, and just for shits and giggles, and we'll go with the. We'll go with the Orioles. They've got a nice season so far.
All right, I was gonna say Orioles, Brewers, so instead I'll say Dodgers, Twins. Why not?
Okay.
As he looks at the standings.
Yeah. I'm like, who else has good record?
All right. So, some people think the greatest player of all time is Babe Ruth. We've all heard of old Babe Ruth. I've got a couple of Babe Ruth facts that you may not have been aware of.
Okay.
First one says that being a bad boy helped lead him to the game of baseball. It says at the age of 7, Ruth was getting in trouble for drinking, chewing tobacco, and wandering the dockyards and taunting local police.
At 7?
Wandering the dockyards? What's a dockyard? And how do I wander one?
Drinking and smoking at the age of 7.
Yeah.
So his parents sent him off to Catholic school, where some monks, it says, put him in line. And he learned
or nuns.
What does that mean? Just wrapped him with a ruler until he stopped smoking. Drop the cigarette. Whack.
Guided by a monk named Brother Matthias, who, along with several other monks, introduced him to baseball and made him a qualified shirt maker. But Ruth said he was no good at it.
Is this in 1897? When was he born? He's old as
Yeah, pretty much. He born in the 20s.
Yeah. I mean, we haven't had dockyards to wander in a good 100 years, so it must have been back then.
Another one said he played with a piece of cabbage under his hat. I don't know if you knew that or not.
Why?
This is why you guys are losing softball games. You need more hat cabbage.
This is not much to say about it. The 6'2", 215 pounds. He's more than 215 pounds.
He is comfortably an Oliver Platt-sized baseball player. He's a big, fat, waste of space piece of shit.
Portrayed by Platt in his life story.
He was portrayed by big old John Goodman when he was fat.
Yeah,
that's true.
Wore a piece of cabbage under his hat in the playing field to help keep his head cool.
What?
Is it fresh out of the refrigerator? How does cabbage keep your head cool? I don't understand.
There's Babe with his trademark cabbage.
After 9 innings with a wilted, stinky piece of cabbage under that hat.
Oh, I guess he's peckish. He's taking a bite of the cabbage.
It's better than the 19 sausages he normally consumes for a meal. What in the fuck?
Oh, that cabbage is going to go right to his thighs.
He was once known for trolling the dockyards, waving a piece of cabbage in the direction of the coppers.
How long does a cold piece of cabbage last in a 3-hour 9-inning game?
Not long. And especially because then it's not like he brought a Yeti cooler to the game with a bunch of cabbage in it. It was from his refrigerator in his shitty ass apartment with no air conditioning. Went in some old gas guzzling taxi cab. By the time he got to the stadium, it was probably lukewarm cabbage at best. Unless they had an ice chest full of cabbage there. I don't know.
Oh, Babe doesn't like the call, and he slapped the umpire with his sweaty cabbage.
You can tell it's a hot one because the cabbage has soaked up so much sweat it's translucent.
All right. It also says that he used to go out for a beer and hot dog during the games. All right. It says
That is the first believable fact about Babe Ruth.
So when he played at the White Sox Stadium, the old Comiskey Park, it says he would have a beer or two at the local watering hole, and so the people would let him out the side door, where he would walk 150 feet or so across the street to McCuddy's and quickly down a beer and hot dog before returning to the dugout.
How does he know, like, guys aren't going to, like, just go whack, 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 and he's, like, sprinting over, ketchup dribbling out of his face?
So he wasn't just delivered a beer and hot dog.
Right.
Like, that's what you'd think. Like, he literally walked out the back door of the stadium.
Can you imagine, like, Alex Rodriguez strolling across the jaunt to go get, like, a ribeye in the middle of the fucking gate? Like, people would lose their shit. I know, like, in the 90s, there was a big fat basketball player named Oliver Miller. He played for the Suns. He was a center who was supposedly
Oliver. I'm like, are you going to say Platt?
Oh, no. There was this center for the Phoenix Suns named Oliver Platt. He was a gargantuan lard ass. No, there's this guy named Oliver Miller. He actually apparently had a lot of talent, but he was known for being just fat and out of shape. And he got in trouble because he, like, had a fan behind the bench go get him a hot dog. He was like eating a hot dog on the bench during the game. Sons are like, you do your job for 2 hours a day. Could you just not eat during that time?
Baseball, like, look, there's a lot of standing around.
Yeah.
You could conceivably eat a hot dog and perform your duty.
You could? Wouldn't your stomach
reasonably
feel like
well?
shit?
Yeah, not today, not like with today's athletes or whatever, but you could, right?
Mm-hmm.
If it doesn't on a basketball court, it seems much more out of place.
Yeah. Well, didn't they always accuse Michael Jordan of being a hot dog? I'm glad I cut you off for that. Anyway, moving on.
Remember when Jordan played that flu game and he wore cabbage on his head the entire time to keep his temperature down?
I guess like those stories to kind of tell you all you need to know about the quality of play in like 1930s or whenever he was playing, right? Because he's like so far and away the best player, and he's like drinking beer mid-game, like like you take Mike Trout and put him back then, and he's batting like 980 or whatever, you know what I mean? Like with 10,000 home runs.
Mike Trout would appear to be a wizard. These guys, like, what is he doing?
First, because he travels through time. That would be the first thing that would.
Right.
Here's a question though, because do you think the guys now are clearly stronger, right? But guys then presumably would be tougher, right?
Yeah, maybe.
Like, Mike Trout probably wasn't drinking and smoking and down at the dockyards.
Yeah.
Hold on. Does drinking and smoking cigarettes make you tough? I know a lot of tough guys back.
I mean,
Wisconsin is the toughest fucking state in the union. Then I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, if you're drinking at age 7, there's a pretty good chance you're going to be tough by the time.
You've seen some shit. Yeah,
you're either going to be tough or have horrible liver problems.
Well, that's the thing too. Those guys would smoke like in the dugout. They would smoke during the game. That was all day long. So yeah, no, he's definitely tougher than Trout. He couldn't catch Trout or like.
He could probably catch Trout because he was at the dockyard and just threw a fish line in.
There it is. I knew it. I'm like, yeah, okay.
Great.
Put a little hot dog in his hook.
Oh, there's the Babe again, casting his fishing line into the outfield for some reason.
Here comes Mike Trout. He caught him again.
Oh, there's the Babe lining up in the outfield against Kobayashi, seeing who can eat more hot dogs between innings.
Here comes Mike Trout. What the fuck? He's the biggest muscled man I've ever seen in my life.
Trout has traveled through time, and he just hit his 3,000th home run of the game.
He brought along Tim Salmon. Another fish related player. No one knows.
Most of our listeners will know.
That's for you, Chemnitz, if you're listening. And Bobby Mackerel. I made that one up.
All right, let's eat some snacks. We got 3 snacks, rate them on a 5-point scale. I love that, like that, indifferent to that, dislike that, and hate that. Let's start with this cookie. This is a little Choco. It's the Tipo, which I don't know if we've had that brand or I've just seen it around.
We did, and it was like a cheese wafer or something. Tipo.
Okay.
Tipo cheese wafer. We did, yeah.
Mine is smashed.
Not too long ago.
I was sent 2, and one was totally intact, and the other one was in pieces. So they're like individually wrapped mini chocolate chip cookies. The Choco Chip. I'd say it's about the size of like a Chips Ahoy, maybe a tiny bit smaller.
Yeah, it came in like a big bag of like 15 individually wrapped cookies or something.
That sounds like a good use of packaging.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it is a Japanese brand, I believe.
Yeah, it's from the Asian grocery store, and that is true, I feel like, for a lot of the Asian snacks, where you will buy the bag, and then all the snacks inside the bag are individually wrapped.
Yeah.
Which is convenient, but also terrible for the planet.
Yeah.
Geiger, let's say you about this.
I mean,
chocolate chip cookie.
This is as nondescript a food. This is like your down the middle, basic. Like this is like, I don't know. Like if this cookie went back in time and somehow became available in stores in Babe Ruth's time, they probably wouldn't even be all that impressed. They'd like be like, "I've eaten better cookies at home. Mom put them on the windowsill." Like they would just think maybe they'd be impressed with the individual packaging. And then Babe Ruth to start a company where cabbage leaves were individually packaged, so for convenience. I'm wasting time because there's nothing to say about this fucking cookie. It's fine. It's like a terrible it's a worse version of a McDonald's cookie or like those little like airplane cookies. It's a dry as bitch cookie. Mine was like crumbled into shards. The chocolate's present, I guess. And this is about as a down the road indifferent. Like it's fine. It's not bad, but it is not good either. It exists in the universe, and that's the best I can say about it.
Chad?
It exists in the universe.
It doesn't deserve its own packaging. I'll say that.
This is why people come to this pod, for insights such as this cookie exists in the universe.
This cookie is an actual object.
The chocolate is present. The chocolate is barely present.
Yeah.
Mine had like 2 little tiny chocolate chips in it. You don't even taste them. They might as well not be there. This is like, it is that same kind of consistency, size and stuff as like a Famous Amos when you get like that bag. Maybe it's like a little bit bigger than those Famous Amoses. But those things actually have chocolate chips, and the chocolate chips are like a reasonable size, right? Like the chocolate chips in this thing are fucking tiny. So I don't even understand why I'm eating this thing. Like you advertise it as a choco chip cookie. There's barely any chocolate chips in it. Even on the outside of the wrapper, it doesn't even look like there's that many chocolate chips in the cookie. Yeah. So I'm going to dock it for lack of chocolate chips and slide it into a dislike that.
Wow. Dislike that?
I mean, this is pretty innocuous, Brady. I don't know.
I want chocolate in my chocolate chip cookie.
It's Choco. It's not chocolate. I promise it's chocolate.
Oh, my bad. Oh, okay. Love that.
I will say the picture is completely accurate. It's just like a photo taken of the cookie.
Right. Even the name is like Choco Chip Cookie. You know what this is. There's no like cool name.
I don't think this tastes bad. I think I've had worse chocolate chip cookies than this.
For sure.
It definitely needs more Choco.
Yeah.
Right? There's no
doubt
about that.
But Novak, does it exist? Is it a thing in the world?
Is it in the universe, Novak?
Is it a tangible object that you can hold in your hand?
I'm actually torn. The part of me wants to put it as a like that because it tastes decent.
What?
But I just don't know if that's like if it's even a fair thing to do for like a chocolate chip cookie. So, it's probably too plain for chocolate chip. I'm gonna give it an indifferent to that. Two indifference and a dislike. Not a great score.
I think if you lined up all the chocolate chip cookies in the world, it would definitely be near the end because it's like barely qualifying.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go to the nice magic mix. Nice is what? Where's that? Is that like a Target thing or is it? No, where'd you get these from?
I think I got this at Walgreens actually.
Okay, maybe it's a Walgreens thing.
Yeah.
Magic mix. Now, there's a lot of good sounding things in here. It says peanuts, raisins, M&M's chocolate candies, peanut butter drops, and semi-sweet chocolate drops. So it sounds like a tasty mix.
Peanut butter drop is a peanut butter chip, right? Like, and chocolate chips.
One of those Choco Drop cookies we just ate.
Oh shit! I just dropped a bunch all over the floor.
Me too.
Well, that's why it's called peanut butter drop.
Drop.
So, pretty standard trail mix, right? Probably a bit sweeter than a lot of trail mixes. Chad, what say you?
Well, I don't know. I kind of had high hopes for this one, right? Because it has a lot of components that I really like. I like Choco Drops. I like peanut butter drops. I like peanuts. I like M&Ms. I like raisins, right? These are all things that are in this, as we've established. They're all things
Raisin drops.
They're all things that exist in the universe.
Oh, yeah.
Mine, I did notice I picked up my bag and it felt really cold. And then I dumped out a bunch in my hand and some cabbage fell out. I thought that was a little strange.
Right.
But anyway, but there's, I think for example, the peanuts are lacking saltiness, that I think would elevate this a lot. The raisins are some of the lowest quality raisins of all time. They're really bad raisins. The
raisins dropped off the conveyor belt onto the factory floor.
Yeah, really, they are. The M&Ms are, the M&Ms are good. The chips are fine. So I'm a little disappointed in this. I think it still tastes good though. Like if you get a mix of everything and throw it in your mouth at once, a big mouthful and chew it around, it tastes all right. This is gonna get a very low level like that for me.
Oh, this is really tough.
Yeah.
Why do you think it's called Magic Mix?
Traveled back in time.
Magicians use it in their tricks.
Yep. Tie in with Lord of the Rings or something.
They feed it to the rabbit in their hat.
Magic Johnson used to leave the games, go across the street,
eat the trail mix. Magic Johnson used to bang a bunch of women and leave this in a gift basket for them at the side of the bed.
It is a nice mix of things. Like the things they list. It's a good.
Hold on.
It is a nice mix. That's
the nice magic mix is a nice mix. Is this corporate content at this point? Are you?
I'd hate to downgrade it for this, but I feel like a trail mix needs. It can't just be all sweet stuff like that. Like it feels like it's all sweet.
Mm-hmm.
And normally I'm not against something that's all sweet. But it needs something else to it besides just fucking chocolate chips and M&Ms and peanut butter drops. The peanut alone cannot save this thing. I just don't think this is a great trail mix. I'm going to give it, it's not bad though. I'm going to give it another indifferent to that. Geiger, what do you think?
Yeah. Look, the top of the thing, the top of the picture says...
You're going to top of the thing of this.
The top of the thing. Here's the top of the thing. The top of the bag says 100% satisfaction guaranteed.
Wow.
By whom? Right. Do I get my money back now? I guess I didn't pay for it. Chad, you buy these?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you get your money back now if we don't
Yeah, that's something satisfied? I will invest time and energy into.
Okay. Sure. I just wanted you to know that option's out there.
That's not implying that you have to enjoy it, right? Just that it's not ripped open or...
Or that you're satisfied. I mean, that can mean whatever I decided. You're
satisfied when you hate things. Like you
It did fill me up. It tasted like rancid shit. I'm with Novak in that this is it's too much. First of all, as a trail mix goes, This is like the least healthy trail mix I can imagine. It's like a bunch of candy drops and M&Ms.
Yeah.
The only good thing in here is probably the shriveled up shitty raisins and the peanuts.
This is a protein health mix in the 1910s.
Yeah. This revolutionized the health scene. And then they couldn't figure out why Babe Ruth was 500 pounds because he ate 7 bags in between innings. I think
peanut butter drops improve your sports performance.
You know what I like to do after a nice long athletic event? I'll take a nice long drag on my Winston-Salem cigarettes and eat some peanut butter drops.
There's Ty Cobb taking off his hat and pulling his magic mix from out underneath it. Having a little snack.
Yeah, look, it's very nondescript. Again, it's very bland. It tastes good. I'm very it's one of those snacks where I feel like I should give it a like that, but I don't want to just because it's the most unimaginative trail mix of all time. But it tastes good. It's like candy with peanuts in it. I can't knock it too much. So very low level, uninspired like that, I guess.
So it is in the lead though. So Chad did give it a like. Wait, did you just give it a like, Edgar?
Yeah, he did. Surprise twist at the end. He's like,
yeah.
I shouldn't give this a like that. Like that.
Well, but at the end of the day, it's candy. I mean, I'm eating candy. I like M&Ms and chocolate drops.
All right. Great.
All right. Time for
there was nothing ending on that. That was it.
Okay.
All right, cool. Okay, so this episode comes out, as you guys know, October 22nd.
Yep.
So, sometimes I like to look back in history and see what happened on that day in history. So everybody knows what happened on October 22nd, 1962. You guys know, right?
Yep.
Babe called the shot.
October 22nd, 1962 is the start of the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Oh, of course.
When he got shot is what I meant.
Yeah. When he got a shot of morphine to end his life.
October 22nd, 1962, start of the Cuban Missile Crisis, well-known comedy gold mine, the Cuban Missile Crisis.
That was Babe's shot. He was in control of the missiles at that point.
Yeah. He thought the bad pigs meant endless sea of hot dogs. He got really excited.
There's Babe going across the street to the Babe Pigs, as he calls bar across the street.
Like how the announcer is just following Babe leave the stadium.
Babe Ruth calling Fidel Castro saying, "Hey, knock it off, bozo."
He's entering the latrine and now he is dropping trow.
You got on the train and started taking a shit?
Latrine.
Oh, I thought you said he got on the train. Got on the train. Babe Ruth takes a dump wherever he feels like a gentleman. The other passengers applauded his shit.
Now watch Babe jerk it for the entire train.
How about his sticksmanship? Look at him handle that bad, and he gets a standing ovation when he orgasms.
Take a look at my big apple, says Babe.
Some villains like to tie a damsel in distress to the tracks. Babe Ruth just takes a big shit on the tracks. There's doing it now.
Then he heads back in to take it at bat.
Okay. Anyway.
So, Cuban Missile Crisis.
And this is every segment for me, just so you know. Hold on, I'm going to get the Big Johnson t-shirt website up.
So you might call JFK and that whole thing versus whoever it was in Russia, Stalin or whoever.
Hold on. No. You had time to prepare.
you might call that a rivalry, right? Would you say that's a rivalry?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Oh yeah, big time rivalry. Yankees, Red Sox, Ali Frazier, and JFK, and that Russian guy. Khrushchev, I think, right?
So today we're going to look at some of history's, weirdest rivalries between two people. And
Okay.
you guys have to pick a side in this rivalry.
Ooh.
You have to tell me like which of these two people, you're gonna, or two people, or in some cases entities, you are going to side with. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So I've got 6 rivalries here. Start with the first one: Mark Twain versus the Postal Service. So Mark Twain hated basically. What was his face? Let's do it again.
He's very confused.
Okay.
I already got a dog in this way.
Right.
Don't have to tell me.
Don't even get me started.
I just say Mark Twain versus the Postal Service. Who do you like better?
Go. Novak? Usually not.
No, I got
fucking
something to
long
read
line
here.
at the post office, so I don't really like that.
All right. Mark Twain hated basically everything to do with the post office. Stamps, he said, when England in 1848 invented stamps, my feelings were decidedly anti-English. The requirement to write full address on envelopes, quote, words utterly wasted, and mind you, when a man is paid by the word, this sort of thing hurts. When he was young, he lived in Nevada and held a job as a clerk for a senator. He had this to say when a constituent wrote asking the government to build a new post office, quote, what the mischief do you want with a post office? If any letters came here, you couldn't read them.
What the mischief?
What the mischief? WTM.
One time when Twain forgot the address of a friend, he wrote the following on the envelope, quote, to Mr. C.M. Underhill, who is in the coal business in one of those streets there, and is very respectably connected both by marriage and general descent, and is a tall man, and old, but without any gray hair, and used to be handsome. Buffalo, New York, from Mark Twain, P.S., a little bald on the top of his head. And then it says, the post office successfully delivered the letter.
But the address is too much to write?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
There's 12 people on the earth. Yeah, they found it easily.
So it doesn't explain why he hated the post office. He just
Right.
did hate the post office. Novak, we'll start with you. Who are you going to side with here? Mark Twain or the post office?
I like Mark Twain for the most part. I think he's pretty funny, and a lot of his like political commentary is very funny. But man, he just seems like old man shakes his fist at cloud here. And then to pull this bullshit of like writing a long description, I don't know. This makes me think that there was just like not enough actual shit to worry about back then. So unfortunately, I think the post offices are pretty important.
What the mischief? You couldn't even read the letters.
What the mischief is Babe doing, taking down his pants on the train? So unfortunately, I'm going to have to side with the post office on this one.
Okay, Geiger.
Yeah, look, I don't mean to sound pro-government all the time, but I mean, he complained about, first of all, his complaint, like, he is a writer. Like, how lazy is he being that he can't write an address on an envelope? And then he follows it up by writing a 36-paragraph description of some dude's bald spot.
And how he used to be handsome.
Yeah. He's
Imagine
negging this dude.
You get a letter from your friend, and it says on the envelope, you used to be handsome.
Yeah.
Like, fuck you!
Please RSVP to my book signing. Fuck you, Mark Twain.
Mischief you, Mark Twain.
Yeah. Yeah, he sounds like a curmudgeonly mother mischiefer. Look, Mark Twain can suck a dick. I don't think he...
Whoa!
He sounds like a curmudgeonly shithead here.
Mm-hmm.
And to like tell... I mean, it's clearly... we can be mad at the government for lots of stuff. And to be honest, today, the post office does nothing but send me bills and junk mail. Mm-hmm. However, at one point in time, it was the only way people could correspond. So you got to go post office here. He was clearly on the wrong side of history there.
Okay. All right. Let's see what you think of this one. John James Audubon versus Charles Waterton. In the 1820s, John James Audubon, the American ornithologist and future author of the world's most expensive book, The Birds of America, was obsessed with vultures. He was particularly fascinated by the birds' eating habits. Audubon believed the scavengers didn't find rotting meals with their sense of smell, as was commonly believed, but rather used their eyesight. So when he lectured on his theory in 1826, he made British conservationist Charles Waterton deeply upset. Waterton had written extensively about the turkey vulture's excellent sense of smell in one of his books, and was so offended by the new theory that he suggested Audubon, quote, ought to be whipped.
Hell yeah.
Waterton's pro-smell cronies tried to smear Audubon's credibility, making pointed attacks at his abilities as a writer. Quote, the grammar is bad, the composition poor, and the statements unsatisfactory. Then, over the course of 5 years, Waterton wrote 19 letters to the Magazine of Natural History attacking Audubon. And when the journal finally stopped publishing his letters, he reportedly continued to print and distribute them himself. But experiments would later support Audubon's position, and today it's generally agreed that all vultures use sight. But in the 1960s, new research found turkey vultures do actually use smell. So while Audubon was right about most vultures, he was wrong about turkey vultures. So, Geiger, you want to go with Audubon here, who thinks that vultures use sight, or Waterton, who thinks that vultures use smell? Who you got?
What? So
You
I'm
follow all
picking. So wait, but who was right?
They were both right in a sense, and also both wrong.
Does it matter who's right?
I mean, do you want to side with the guy who like got all pissed off and said he ought to be whipped and his statements are
That's my point. Like, I can see if he was like, "Here's my theory: turkey vultures use sight to see rotting food, and also, what's the second guy's name?
Waterton,
not Audubon.
or Audubon.
Also, Charles Waterton is a smelly piece of shit with no dick. Like, then you have a right to get angry and go after him, or like the turkey vulture sees its food and that's how it knows how to go eat it. And also, I banged Waterson's wife. Like, if he's posting articles like that, you have a right to get peeved and want the man whipped, I guess. But this is all over maybe the world's nerdiest debate. Like, maybe this was like, I don't know, the Roe v. Wade of its time or something. Maybe the whole fucking nation was gripped with turkey vulture debate fever. What's the deal with the turkey vulture? Babe Ruth says they both smell delicious. And wait, they both. It's one turkey vulture. I meant the authors. He wanted to eat both of them. Anyway, I will go with Audubon because A, he did write the most expensive book. So as we all know, money rules over all other things. And two, that guy was being a little pedantic. And to go to the lengths that he did to try to smear this guy and get so upset over one possible scientific theory sounds pretty stupid. So
it's unclear if Babe Ruth finds the hot dogs by sight or smell. Scientists are debating. Novak, who you got?
Well, mischief me sideways because I lost track of what you were saying about.
It's only going to get worse
through.
From here, so buckle in.
So I'm going to say Waterton because Geiger picked the other one, and this is not. This debate should continue for the rest of the time.
All right, good. Okay, Frederick
Autobahn or Autoblow? Which one do you guys have?
Check the archives.
Great. Frederick A. Cook versus Robert E. Peary. In 1908, Frederick A. Cook and Robert E. Peary were in a bitter race to the top of the world. Cook would insist he had reached the North Pole first, but an act of possible sabotage would damage his claim. On his return trip, Cook had stopped in Greenland and ran into an American hunter named Harry Whitney. Looking to offload some weight from his journey, Cook entrusted Whitney with his supplies, including his navigational records, under the impression that Whitney would take them to New York City. Months later, Robert Peary, fresh from his own expedition to the North Pole, would appear in Greenland with a boat. Whitney was thirsty to leave Greenland, and Peary agreed to help him under one condition, that he leave all of Cook's supplies behind. You with me so far? All right. Whitney accepted. Cook, with his equipment lost somewhere in Greenland, would never be able to defend his claim. Great.
What is happening? What is happening?
I'm so fucking lost.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Pay attention here. Come on. It's not hard.
Did we get to the debate yet?
Yeah, I'm almost there. Okay. So, I was at the last sentence, which is, it remains unclear if either man actually reached the North Pole. So you have...
So the debate is who got to the North Pole first?
Well, these are famous rivals here. So, yes,
Right.
So Cook says he got to the North Pole first, but then he left his navigational equipment with some dude in Greenland.
Uh-huh.
The second dude, Pearl, saw that guy in Greenland and agreed to give him a ride out of Greenland if he left all of Cook's shit there, to be like lost. And so then that way he could say he got to the North Pole first.
Okay.
But it's unclear if either of them actually got there. So, Novak, who you got? You got Cook or Pearl here?
They both.
Great segment.
Neither one of them.
That's good. I like it.
I'll take the first guy. It seems. I'm trying to think of a reason. Why? The other guy purposely fucked with his shit.
Yeah,
I guess, and
pretty smart.
That seems bad. So I'll go with the first guy.
All right.
Okay.
So here's my theory, guys.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Both of them are wrong anyway. They're both lying. And you want to know how I know
Neither
that?
one of them went. They're
Right.
fucking huge liars.
We all know who first went to the North Pole. Santa Claus.
Mm.
So Santa Claus discovered the North Pole.
Okay.
He gave his 8 shiny reindeer to Cook? Yeah, Cook was the first one.
You also
Cook and
said
Pearl.
top of the world.
Yeah.
So were these guys flat earthers?
Yeah. I'll say you said Cook. I'll say Pearl. I think that guy purposely lost.
You son of a bitch!
I think Cook lost his shit, and then to cover up his tracks, I'm like, oh, what do you mean? Like, look, finders keepers. It's a race to the top of the world. No one's been there. You want to be famous? Sometimes you got to break a few eggs. He left his shit behind. There's nothing wrong with picking up his navigational charts and making it all the way up to the good old NP. So, second one.
Good old NP.
As it's known.
Famous NP.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
All right. Here we
Yep.
go. All right. So the next one, you've actually heard of one of these two people. So pay attention. Robert Hooke versus Isaac Newton.
I've heard of him.
Yeah. So
Hook, I mean.
in 1665, Robert Hooke looked through a microscope at a piece of cork and was immediately reminded of a monastery. He decided to give the small structures he saw a familiar name, cells. So the discovery of the cell is just one of Robert Hooke's many accomplishments. He did pioneering work in optics, gravitation, paleontology, architecture, and more. And he was an influence on Isaac Newton's theory of gravity, and was convinced that Newton would never have cooked up the theory without his help. So, why isn't he a household name? Because of Isaac Newton. For years, the two scientists quibbled over credit for a slew of discoveries, and it irked Newton. In one letter, Newton wrote to Hooke, "If I have seen further, it is by standing on the shoulders of giants." This was not a compliment. Hooke was short and hunchbacked, and so Newton was taking a swipe at the scientist. Your influence is as small as your stature.
Whoa, shit.
When Hooke died and Newton became the president of the Royal Society, the only painting of Hooke in existence went missing. Some argue Newton had it burned.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Guy, are you going to go with Robert Hooke here or Isaac Newton? Who you like?
So, look, the problem with some of these debates is one of them, like, they both, like, could theoretically be right. Maybe Newton's right. I don't fucking know. Newton was clearly smart.
So you got to figure out.
Right. Hooke was clearly smart. But Newton, for sure, sounds like the pettiest of bitches. So, like, to bring the guy's height into account, that's not, like, Hooke has nothing to do with that. You can be smart
I just
and
looked
short.
it up, and Isaac Newton was 5'6".
No, he's...
So this guy
How
must
tall was Robert Hooke?
he must have been short as fuck. I can't find it yet. I'm looking.
Right. I mean, Robert Hooke already defeated Peter Pan. Or is that not the same guy?
Hook ends with an E at the end.
So it's not Captain Hook?
H-O-O-K-E,
Okay.
yeah.
Different guy. That's a shame. I thought Captain Hook invented cells. I think Newton loses primarily because, again, all of these things, I think all scientists really should be working together to make collective discoveries. Like, who cares who gets the credit as long as you're helping mankind? Cells are a key part of science. Gravity is a key part of science. Gravity
cells are something that exists in the universe.
I was just going to say gravity exists in the universe. So look, you can say that gravity and cells are kind of the forefather of the Tipo Chocochip Cookie. I will say Hook because he seems like the more reasonable member of the debate. Is that Hook? Is he flashing Crip signs? What is that? What the fuck?
Oh my god, he looks hilarious.
He looks like he's about to tune in Tokyo somewhere.
Okay, wait, did you picked Hook?
I did.
Okay, Novak.
It seemed good. Then I saw Hook.
Yeah, you like a short king or a shorter king? Who you got?
Yeah. Does it say how tall Hook is, Novak? Did you find that?
I couldn't find it. Maybe one of you guys could search out that key fact.
Yeah, let me look that up because that's going to influence this whole thing, I think.
Isaac Newton, definitely the more handsome of the two. If you look at these pictures, right? Yeah. And I'm interested in getting hard right now. So.
That's handsome?
Well, it's the fucking 1600s. And did you see Hook, who reportedly was Quasimodo's?
I mean, that's like 1600 handsome. You know?
Yeah, 5'6" then was like fucking. Like playing the post on your local basketball team.
He was the Babe Ruth of his time.
So you're gonna go with
there's Isaac Newton. There's definitely. I'm gonna go no. You know, but like handsome people get too much stuff already without him like stealing from the ugly people.
Newton was People Magazine's sexiest man of the year back in. He just the red car. He was probably some dumb jock, and the apple fell on his head. He's like gravity. He figured it all out.
There's Isaac Newton with a line of 20 women ready there to blow him. He's so handsome.
And he's taking down his pants on the stagecoach. That's what Isaac Newton does.
He's allowing gravity to pull down his pants. Newly found discovery.
His duck looks like it's about half of a Robert Hook.
He says, Robert Hook, once I discover gravity, maybe your balls will drop. So I'm going to go with Hook.
In summary, Hook.
Okay. All right, two more. Let's see if we can get through these. This one, okay. Othniel.
Oh boy.
These names. Othniel.
You chose these.
Take your time. Careful.
Okay. Othniel Charles Marsh versus Edward Drinker Cope. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Othniel Charles Marsh and Edward Drinker Cope would discover around 130 dinosaur species in the mid to late 19th century, introducing the world to big names such as Triceratops and Stegosaurus. They worked well together at first, but in 1868, everything changed. For years, Cope had been classifying fossils discovered in the Marl Quarries in New Jersey. When Marsh visited Cope to take a tour of the pits, he secretly made an agreement with the quarry owners, stipulating that he was entitled to the fossils they found. Cope was furious. Later, Marsh discovered that Cope had reconstructed one of his dinosaur skeletons backwards, mistaking the animal's tail for its neck. The information...
Mistaking its head for its ass.
I'm on the side of the dinosaur.
The information went public and deeply embarrassed Cope. A toxic rivalry was born. And for the next 3 decades, the two men spread toxic smears as they raced to collect the most fossils, what is now known as the Bone Wars.
Yep.
That's what
You guys
it's called.
heard of the Bone Wars, right? It's somewhere outside of your Pornhub search history.
I thought that was Peter North versus Ron Jeremy. Am I right?
The good old PN.
Cope's rushed work was plagued by careless errors. Marsh often resorted to bribery and bullying in the pursuit of specimens. The ruthless feud would lead both men to financial ruin. So Novak, so Cope was discovering the fossils in the quarry. Marsh came in and bribed.
I tried harder on this one. Yeah.
Okay.
So Marsh has started the whole thing. He's clearly a dick for trying to, but Cope sounds like a real fuck up. He puts the dinosaur backwards, and then later mentioned he made repeated errors or something like that.
Look, maybe the Velociraptor just shit down its neck.
So it sounds like maybe Marsh was thinking I should probably get these bones or else people are gonna think that this particular dinosaur shits out his mouth for the rest of our lives. So I'm gonna go with Marsh.
Is that how the Buttheadosaurus Rex was first named? Is that because they had to change it?
I think so.
Okay, good. Anyway,
there's the Triceratops opening up its mouth. Oh, it's shitting. It's shitting on the train tracks again.
Unfortunately, we have sad news, Yankees fans. Babe Ruth has been drafted into Bone Wars World 2. Bone World War 2, and he has to go fight a Triceratops.
He's gonna duke it out with ladies, man. Isaac Newton.
We've already seen his bone plenty on the L train.
This fucking old-timey baseball announcer announces everything in the world.
He is omnipotent. He is everywhere. Now hear this. President Kennedy farts in his sleep. Don't ask me how I know.
The Bone Wars used to be about dinosaurs. Now it's about who can fuck more, Newton or Babe Ruth.
The Bone Wars about who's the better mischief maker. If you get my drift.
Who can fuck more of these guys born 3 centuries apart?
So I think I'm gonna say, look, it is a dick move of the guy to try to usurp the credit or steal the bones or whatever, but when
Bone Wars are about dick moves,
right? That's true. Well done. I think it's kind of like when you're watching, when you're on a group project, right? And you're doing your part and you look over and bumfuck McGee over there can't even write a sentence straight. And you're like, he's going to fuck this up. I don't want millions of people worldwide to think this dinosaur has a butthole where its neck should be. If I need to be on the right side of history here, someone needs I know. I'm looking at the dinosaur. I know its head doesn't go on its rear legs. I know that. Somebody's got to step in.
This guy just fucking reversed the head and we've cannoned him putting the ass right on top of the neck.
Look, the Tyrannosaurus's dick is hanging down its chest. There's no way that's right.
Tyrannosaurus.
Is that what I called it? All right, I'm a descendant of that guy. So I think the guy. Look, I think the guy being such a fucking dipshit makes him wrong, and I think the second guy deserves to be in the right.
You agree, Marsh?
Okay. Marsh, thank you. Yes.
Okay, last one. You probably know both of these names. Here we go. Arthur Conan Doyle versus Harry Houdini.
Oh yeah, I know these guys.
Arthur Conan Doyle and Harry Houdini were fascinated by spiritualism, albeit for different reasons. Houdini was a professional illusionist who made a living fooling people. Before he was a household name, he earned a small income by hosting seances and pretending to speak to the dead. As such, he was skeptical of anybody who claimed to have the power to communicate with the other side. Houdini's friend, Arthur Conan Doyle, however, sincerely believed that he could access the afterlife. In fact, his wife Jean moonlighted as a medium. One day, she claimed to summon Houdini's dead mother and received a 15-page message from beyond the grave.
That's no good.
One problem. The ghost wrote in impeccable English. Houdini's mother was Hungarian and spoke almost no English at all. For Houdini, it was a breaking point. The two men never reconciled their differences. Houdini would go on to describe mediums as, quote, human leeches, charlatans who exploited people's grief, and would dedicate great energy to exposing fraudulent mediums. So, Geiger, for this last one, you like our boy Harry Houdini or our boy Arthur Conan Doyle? I guess they're both our boys. I don't know.
Didn't Arthur Conan Doyle also write Robin Hood and a bunch of
Sherlock Holmes,
books?
right?
Sherlock Holmes,
Yeah,
that's right.
Sherlock Holmes, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Look, magicians are kind of dipshits, but I think in this one, again, this is like, it's almost like the dinosaur with a butthole for a face. Like, how do you fuck up that bad? Now, granted, you can't like Wikipedia Houdini's mom or whatever. But
don't you think though, like once you're dead, then you can speak all languages or whatever?
No, I don't think any of that's true at all.
But
okay. I do think.
I don't know. Did you just have Jesus translate for you or something, right? Like,
yeah.
Don't they have Google Translate in heaven?
Hey, Jesus, I need to make a quick buck off these rubes. Can you come translate Hungarian for me? She says you have a nice cabbage hat. I think. Like,
what the fuck was that?
Well, that's my Hungarian. Like, they probably wore cabbage hats a lot back then and getting hungry. I don't. Yeah, I think Conan Doyle is a fuck up. Like you're just a fuckhead when you're like pretend that you look. If you want to say something to Houdini, be like your mom still loves you and she. Wore clothes or like something that she did.
She wore clothes.
Yeah, we know she did. She wasn't naked.
She was. She had clothes. I definitely did not fuck her, Houdini. Don't worry. She was fully clothed.
Look, I have not seen your mother naked, despite no matter what her nationality.
I was not hanging out in a tree outside your mom's window with some binoculars. I was not doing that.
Your mom told me that I never did that. She wanted you to know that. Sure.
She wanted you to know that for sure I am not your father. Definitely not your father. But like you keep it small, you keep it quick, you read the audience. You don't write a fucking small book about her and it'd be like so fucking wrong. Even if she had done it in like perfect Hungarian, he would have gotten something wrong because he doesn't know her. That's just basic medium shit. He just fucked up is what he did. He is no Sherlock Holmes. He's an idiot. Houdini, also an idiot, but less of an idiot. So I will go with my man Harry H.
You don't think like Harry's mom in heaven? She's like, what was that Hungarian? Help me do the Hungarian accent. Hey, what did you do? Hey, Jesus. Hey, Jesus.
Hey, Jesus, you have cabbage hat?
How do you say? How do you say I'm up here in heaven blowing Isaac Newton in English? How do you say that?
I take Isaac Newton borscht into mouth. I don't know if that's Hungarian food or not. I don't know a thing about Hungarian, but I've turned his mom into
Isaac Newton asked me to swallow borscht, but I prefer to spit.
I want to play with his Harry Houdini, if you know what I mean.
If you know, a fucking shitty stand-up comic. If you know what I mean, huh?
Hey, Jesus, how do you say "if you know what I mean" in English?
I flew all the way from Hungary, and boy, are my arms tired.
Hey, Jesus, is this thing on?
Hey, Jesus! What is the deal with airplane food? Also, what is airplane?
All right.
Tough crowd, Jesus. Tough crowd.
The thing is, Doyle didn't write this stuff, right? His wife did all this stuff. So this is like your buddies with someone, and their spouse is like an annoying fuck up, right? They annoy you, but the other person's married to them, so you kind of like go along with it. And so Doyle, like, she says, like, oh, give Houdini this 15-page thing. Doyle was like, I'm not giving him this fucking 15-page thing. This is all bullshit, it is, but he wanted to get his dick wet, and so he just like went along with it. And so,
I'm never gonna get the realist and the bone horn if I don't read this whole goddamn thing. If you know what I mean.
And so he gave his friend the thing, not thinking that Houdini could look past it. And Houdini, for some reason, Houdini went too far. He's like, he should just know that Doyle's spouse was a fuck up. And so I'm going to side with Doyle.
All right. Well, everyone, hey, Jesus, tip your waiters. That's the last one I had.
Hey, 2 drink minimum, eh?
It's fucking Hungarian. It's turned into Yakov Smirnoff.
Hey, Jesus, the problem with the government is I'm going to smash this watermelon with a hammer.
Hey, in heaven, the gates open you, right?
You stand up in heaven.
Okay, Rolo, one of these candies that we've gone 5 years without eating, but is a very popular candy that you've probably all had. Comes in the little circular golden wrapper. All the little pieces are inside. They're like, what else is this the size of?
Like a Dots gumdrop kind of.
Yeah, that's accurate.
Yeah, Hershey Kiss-ish.
This is like one of those candies that like I probably had when I was like 7 or something, and then not since then. You know what I mean? But you see it on the shelves all the time. I'm like,
you used to get them for Halloween a lot, I feel like.
Maybe.
I actually went through like a Rolo phase.
Really?
Where I like it entered my.
Do tell.
It entered my like rotation for like a year's time, like somewhere in the 20s.
You had a little experimental phase with Rolo, or trying it out.
Babe Ruth looks like he's got a Rolo quarters in his pocket, but that's just his penis. He's pulling it out again, folks.
Honey, I'm experimenting with Rolo. Put it on my ass real quick. Stuff like that. That kind
Stuff
of phase.
like that.
Is that what you meant by your Rolo phase when you would have your wife put it on your ass?
That was the Trianosaurus, yes.
Trianosaurus.
Man, I gotta find that dinosaur.
This is the Justatiposaurus that I've discovered here.
I think Rolos are tasty.
I am gonna fight my way to this goddamn rating.
I like how they taste in my mouth. Okay. This one is tough for me. I do think I'll reach for this candy on occasion. I feel like I have them like now at like the holidays. They'll come more individually wrapped, and I'll get them then. And I will, if there's a basket of different candies, I will take some Rolos. I hesitate to say love because it's kind of basic. But to me, they are tasty. I'm going to give them, I think, a high level like that. I do enjoy a Rolo. They're very much in this race here. It's got to beat two likes and in a different. Geiger, what do you think?
I think this is a solid candy. Rolo is a candy that I never will ever seek out. Like if I'm in the grocery store, I never think, I got to buy some Rolos. Mm-hmm. Unless it's the night where my wife's going to put it in up my ass, then I don't. Like I might run out to the store to grab condoms and Rolos for a hot date. But I don't. But typically I don't think of Rolo. Like my whole life I could go without eating a Rolo. But whenever I have one, they are very good. I think they're tasty. I like that the caramel is like somewhat gooey, but not like caramel gooey all over your face.
Yeah.
It's like a good consistency of soft, but not like wet soft, if that makes sense. Yeah. And the chocolate's not bad. So I think this is a solid like that. It would never come close to a love for me, but it is definitely a candy I enjoy eating, and I will enjoy eating the rest of these. Rolos are good.
Okay, so we've got two likes. Now, it will tie with an indifferent. It's going to win with anything better, lose with anything worse. Chad.
There's Geiger leaving his house to the store across the street. Is he going to get a beer and hot dog? Oh, nope, it's a condom and a Rolo.
He appears to have a hard-on in anticipation.
Okay.
No, I'll keep going. He gets into bed, takes his pants off.
There's the Hungarian stand-up comedian. She's bombing tonight. Nobody's laughing at her dumb shit.
That's what the announcer says. Her set is whack as shit. No one is laughing.
This is a pleasant surprise here, actually, for me. I was kind of expecting this to be like a much harder consistency. Like what's that one, Toblerone or something? Something like that. Like. But it's actually as soft as you bite through it. It's got a very pleasant mouthfeel. The taste is good. It's a little, like Novak said, it is kind of like a little basic for me, where it would never be something that I would ever like, or I guess I said this, or it's never something I would really like seek out. You know what I mean? Like it. But this is a pleasant surprise. It's probably my favorite of the day. I'm going to give it a like that.
All right, welcome visitor. The Rolo has taken the day. Geiger, where can the listeners contact us?
If you would like to reach out to us and let us know what rival you would have chosen, if you had any other famous rivals that like discovered a landmass and then argued about it or whatever they do, if you've ever tried to put together a puzzle of a dinosaur and tried to put the ass on the face, let us know. You're basically a famous scientist now. That's how that works, right? If you just like to call us and leave a voicemail narrating your Babe Ruth announcer voice, that would be pleasant. Again, most of the people listening to this have one of our phone numbers. But if you don't, and you just want to let us know what snacks we should try, let us know what you think of our ratings, ask a question for the mailbag, you can reach out to us at youtrydat@gmail.com. We're also on YouTube. We're also on Instagram. We are on X or Twitter or whatever you call it. # You Tried Dat. And we are on Facebook with the You Tried Dat group. For those of you who listen regularly, I joke that it's all our friends and family, but we know that there are some other people out there that enjoy it. We really do appreciate it. It means a lot. And if you do think it's funny and you would like your friends and family to listen to a half hour of us doing Babe Ruth voices, you should give them the link or the site to get it. I don't know how to actually
give them the link.
Just give them a link. Give them the www.youtrydat.com.
There's Babe Ruth giving his mouth the hot link.
And, okay, let's address our actual mailbag question. Guy, you're reaching the mailbag.
Hold on. Russell. All right. It says...
Oh, he's reaching down his pants again.
Yep. What candy besides a Rolo would you shove up your... No. That's not what it says. Okay. This question, this is maybe our second actual mailbag question, I think. Other than the ones we made up. Oh, yeah. No, this is a real one, though. That's what I'm saying. This is a real question. It comes from my sister, Becky. So thank you, Becky, for participating. Long-time listener, also long-time sister of mine. Here's the question. What's one food or meal that you've always wanted to try but have not yet?
We're pretty old.
Yeah.
I've eaten a lot of dumb shit, so
I have checked off a lot of those kind. I did, I had a lot of those boxes for a while.
mhm.
Like food. No, there like there was.
Rolos.
I'm trying to remember what the dish was called, but there was this one
Mhm.
dish that I really wanted to eat in Chile that was like just this big like pot full of like meat and like seafood and like dough and all sorts of other stuff, and they like cook it all together and then dump it on your plate.
Mhm.
And but then I got to check that one off. I don't know. I always wondered if I would have the guts to eat like blowfish, prepared
Yeah.
like by like an expert sushi chef or whatever. That might be interesting, but I think I probably wouldn't get around to actually doing it until I was like 80 and didn't care if I dropped dead on the spot,
Yeah. Yeah.
So I probably won't care if I die by the time I'm 80.
There's some kind of like I was thinking of like what's like something I wouldn't pay for, right? Like that exists, but that's too expensive for me to get. And there's some like Wagyu beef, like A5 beef or something. I think that's what it's called.
Yep.
And that's what I think I would like. There's no way I would ever pay for it because it probably couldn't meet like the money expectations I spent on it.
Mhm.
But like I think I would get pleasure out of like just trying that.
Yeah. There's a steakhouse in San Francisco called Alexander's that serves that. Like we've been there a couple times. We never get that. We just get like a fillet, for like $30-$40, whatever it was. But we went with some friends of ours one time, and the guy like was like, "I'm gonna get that," and he did. He bought like the $300 cut of like Wagyu beef or whatever, and it comes out and it's like the size of like a silver dollar or whatever. And he gave us like little pieces of it, and I'm like, this is fine, but like I've had New York strip that was better than this.
Yeah, I just recently went out to dinner in Chicago at a really nice steakhouse with some friends from work, and they had the A5 Wagyu, and I want to say it was like 6 ounces for like $135. It was like some ridiculous, like never would I ever. But I think along those same lines, I would like to try it someday. Like that, I think, but Novak, you're right in that. And maybe it's just I'm not cheap per se, but I think I'd have a hard time. If I knew the price tag, I wouldn't want to eat it. You know what I mean? Because it's going to ruin it for me. Because I'm going to think that's not worth $300 or whatever. But if I just ate it, someone just handed it to me at a party and I ate it. A fucking fantastic party.
Your A5 Wagyu beef party.
I went to my A5 Wagyu beef party to watch Bears Buccaneers at my friend's house. But I think for me,
BYO A5.
Should I bring anything? I want to bring some A5 Wagyu for the group. Maybe some Tostitos.
I'm getting all the drinks. It's not a big deal. You bring some.
Yeah, I covered it in queso. Is that cool? You fucker. I think the other thing I'd want to have. There's 2 other things. Like I'd love to go to Japan and have like actual like sushi from like the best sushi place in Japan or something. You know what I mean? Like, I want to try like really, really. I love sushi, but I probably have never had like really high end sushi before. And I would also love to have. I shouldn't say love. I'd like to try caviar. I've never had it. I'm sure it's overrated as shit, like anything that's that expensive is. It's probably just some salty shit. But I'd like to at least try it to say I've had it. Like a nice caviar one time. Again, it's something that I would never spend for myself because it's probably not going to be worth the squeeze, but like it'd be nice to say I have it just because it's known as such this delicacy, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, when we're old and our kids are all through college, we'll have A5 caviar party.
A5 caviar, wow.
Yeah.
That's the expensive caviar.
I heated ours up in the microwave. You fucker. Babe Ruth running out the game, going to get his A5 Wagyu in the middle of the game. He's paying $2,000 for it.
I think also, like part of it is just like we live in or near like cities with, so you could get like, you can go to Chicago or San Francisco and get any kind of food. So it's easy for us. Like we're spoiled in that we can like try pretty much anything.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Any type of cuisine we want, but
All right. Hey, we talked about food.
Hey!
We did it!
Hooray!
That'll do it for this time. We'll be back next time. We're trying out 3 brand new snacks.
Deuces.
Yep.
Swinging hard on a low ball, strike one, 1-1. George meant to hit that to the far corners. In batting practice today, the Babe hit a couple over the fence and one out in the bleachers. He's still suffering from a Charlie horse, and for that reason is staying out of the game.